you have fun? It's been an impressive group of awards. I mean, these people are remarkable. Tonight, we have met and inducted two great Westerners who have made their mark preserving history and heritage. And now, we induct two more individuals into the Hall of Great Westerners. I remember growing up and watching my dad on the set. I got to make 9 movies with my dad, and the first one is at the age of 11 in the Rio Grande. Next, we're going to meet 2 actors that translate their talent onto film and television. Here to make our first induction, please welcome Olympic gold medalist and stuntman Dean Smith and Western film writer and director Robert Knott. Gentlemen.
Just hold that roll for a minute. Before we get started, Dean and I just wanted to say a little something about a man. If you all have loved the Westerns, as I know you have, the Western movies, none of them would have ever happened without a man who's here tonight that we just want to acknowledge. Dean?
I'd like to thank my good friend Lester Bayless for the costumes he has donated to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. Lester Bayless, you are my hero. Would you please stand and be recognized? You're right over there, Lester. Take your hat off. You got your hat off.
Hello, Lester! Yo!
Well, I told you we were going to do that, Lester. Okay,
let's just say, from every great Western you've ever seen, it's that man right there. All the way down the line from Duke to Steve McQueen in Nevada Smith to Appaloosa that he did with us. Thank you so much, Lester.
And he still owns American Costume Company in case you want to do another Western movie. Now, the first inductee in the Hall of Great Western Performers began as a trick rider with the Buffalo Bill Wild West show, and later with Ringling Brothers.
Let's take a look at a video showcasing his phenomenal life.
Whether it was a stage or screen, Ken Maynard had a desire to perform.
Hey, listen, partner. That ain't no way to talk to a lady.
Born in Vevey, Indiana in 1895, he was one of 5 children. Growing up, he worked at carnivals and circuses where he became an accomplished horseman. As a young man, he performed in rodeos and was a trick rider with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Maynard took time away from performing to serve in the United States Army during the First World War. After returning from service, he got back into show business as a circus rider with Ringling Brothers. When the circus traveled to Los Angeles, he was encouraged by actor Buck Jones to try working in the movie industry. It wasn't long before he had a contract with Fox Studio and was ready for the silver screen. Ken Maynard made his silent movie debut in 1923 as a stunt performer, but thanks to his horsemanship and good looks, he soon became a cowboy star. Paired along with his trusty white stallion Tarzan, Ken Maynard became a household name in Hollywood.
I guess we'll go have a powwow with that, Kent. Come on.
Though a gifted horseman, he was a man of many other talents, including singing and playing musical instruments.
Oh, there ain't anybody can steal my heart.
After recording 2 songs with Columbia Records, The Lone Star Trail and The Cowboy's Lament, he became recognized as one of the first singing cowboys. Throughout his film career, spanning 20 years, he starred in more than 90 films, donning his white hat, fancy shirt, and a pair of 6-shooters. Though he passed away in 1973, his contribution to the movie industry is not forgotten.
Ken, you're wonderful.
Thanks, Lila.
Tonight, Ken Maynard's impressive career is remembered as he's inducted into the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum's Hall of Great Western Performers.
Fantastic. Sponsored by Wyatt and Lisa McRae, tonight we celebrate the many achievements of Ken Maynard as we memorialize his contributions to the Western motion picture. So on behalf of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, it is with great pleasure for Dean and I to acknowledge our newest inductee into the Hall of Great Western Performers, Ken Maynard.
The induction of this next individual is also very special to me. Characterized as lanky, lean, and charismatic, he was a versatile actor with an easy grin that put people to ease.
He appeared in several minor westerns before he was cast as the knife-throwing, quick-shooting Brett in John Sturges' mega hit, The Magnificent Seven. Now let's take a look at this great Western performer, sponsored by RMV Rodeo, Tony Mazzoso, and Gilbert Aguirre.
In 1928, James Harrison Coburn III was born in Laurel, Nebraska. His father, Harrison, lost his auto business during the Great Depression, so when little Jimmy was 6, the family moved to Compton, California. Growing up, Jimmy wanted to be a jazz drummer, but his summer job at the neighborhood theater hooked him on Hollywood. He was drafted into the Army in 1950, served in Germany in the service battery. Afterwards, he studied acting at Los Angeles City College and with Jeff Corey, and later in New York at Stella Adler Studios. His first professional theater gig was in 1955 at La Jolla Playhouse. A reliable character actor, from 1957 to 1964, James Coburn appeared in over 90 episodes of television series, mostly popular westerns like Have Gun Will Travel, The Californians, The Rifleman, Bonanza, and Wanted Dead or Alive. For his big screen debut in 1959, he played Pernell Roberts' sidekick in Randolph Scott's western Ride Lonesome. Coburn's notable early film roles include 1960's The Magnificent Seven as knife thrower Britt, 1963's The Great Escape as Sedgwick, the manufacturer, and 1963's Charade as the villainous Tex. But when he starred in the 1966 spy spoof Our Man Flint, he shot to superstardom. He continued to star in feature films, including more westerns. One of his favorite later roles was as Pat Garrett in Sam Peckinpah's Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid in 1973. Capping a 40-year career, James Coburn won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in 1998 for his role in Affliction. He continued working in both feature films and television until his passing in 2002. Tonight, James Coburn's legacy is being honored with his induction into the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum's Hall of Great Western Performers.
Tonight, we induct James Coburn into the Hall of Great Western Performers, and accepting the award are his son, James Coburn IV, and daughter, Lisa Coburn.
Thank you so much for this great honor. You know, my dad had a connection with Oklahoma City. Back in 1955, he and three theater buddies were driving from LA to New York to take the acting world by the storm. They spent 2 days in Oklahoma City at the YMCA. The truth is, they stopped off in Las Vegas on the way and thought they could win enough money to travel in style. Naturally, the opposite happened. They ended up sleeping at the YMCA's and eating very frugally for the entire trip.
My dad started his career in early television. Westerns were the #1 entertainment on TV at the time, and he played the bad guy mostly in all the popular shows. He was a series regular on a show called Klondike about the Alaskan gold rush, and he was in 3 different episodes of Wanted, Dead or Alive, which of course starred another cowboy, his friend, Steve McQueen. As you know, his first movie was a Western starring Randolph Scott, who liked to help young actors in his films. If they did a good job, he'd make sure they got more lines to say. That was Ride Lonesome in 1959.
Dad learned to ride when he was 11, when he would visit his uncle's farm in Nebraska over the summer. He learned to handle a gun on those visits, too. He actually won a medal for sharpshooting in the Army. When he played Britt in The Magnificent Seven, he and stuntman Richard Farnsworth devised the underhand knife throw technique together. He said that at the end that he could hit anything as long as it was 7 feet away.
Dad was a close friend of the director Sam Peckinpah and acted in 3 films with him, 2 of them westerns. The first was Major Dundee, and of course he played Pat Garrett in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, which is now a classic.
He also worked with Sergio Leone. He had been offered a fistful of dollars and turned it down because at the time he didn't know who Sergio Leone was. Luckily, Leone didn't take it personally, and they did eventually work together on Docu-Sucker.
My dad really loved acting. He loved going into places in order to act. He loved working on characters and trying to find some little quirk for each of these cowboys that he played. He always tried to give them a reason in his imagination for the way they were behaving, even if they were really bad guys, even if it was never really apparent to the viewers. And he was always very appreciative of the recognition and honors that he received throughout his career, especially from his fans.
If he were here, he would say thank you for acknowledging the work, because it's all about the work.
He would have been deeply honored, as are we. We would like to thank you all for your gracious hospitality. It's a wonderful organization.
Thanks a lot. It's been great.